This is KVIA 7 Together in El Paso, Texas.
An El Paso slumber party of sorts for the Space Shuttle Atlantis. We'll have the details on Nightcast after the movie. Up next on News 7 Nightcast, the Space Shuttle Atlantis will remain in El Paso another night. We'll explain why.
And Washington keeps a close watch on events in Panama this week while U.S. troops continue moving toward that Central American nation. Stay with us. News 7 Nightcast is next.
I'm Leon Metz, and these two gentlemen were Mosby and Lockton. As American soldiers of fortune, they participated in the Mexican Revolution.
This is News 7 Nightcast, rated #1 in El Paso and southern New Mexico, with Roy Ortega, Chris Chersrown, Jim Gamble with weather, and Jerry Murphy with sports.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. A dramatic high-speed chase and shooting on Interstate 10 this evening. According to officers, a man wanted in connection with the kidnapping of his wife and 2 children is dead. According to dispatchers, the chase began when the car approached the Sierra Blanca Border Patrol checkpoint shortly before 8 o'clock this evening.
The vehicle turned around and headed toward El Paso at speeds that exceeded 110 miles per hour. The man, identified by officials as Manuel Gomez, had allegedly kidnapped his wife and 2 daughters at gunpoint yesterday afternoon from their home in the 300 block of Edisano.
As the car approached the El Paso city limits, the driver stopped and the woman and the children got out. Police and Border Patrol officers set up 3 roadblocks along the eastern edge of the city. The car sped west, then east on the wrong side of the interstate until DPS officers shot its tires out. The car finally coming to a stop at mile marker 47 just east of the Horizon exit.
The Department of Public Safety tonight says the driver died of a gunshot wound to the chest. However, it is not clear whether the shot was self-inflicted.
El Pasoans got an opportunity today to see a space shuttle up close.
That's right. Sitting atop its Boeing 747 transport plane, the Atlantis remained at Biggs Army Airfield all day today, awaiting out bad weather along its route to the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Thousands of people poured into the airway today, many of them carrying cameras. Biggs officials, despite less than a couple of hours' notice, were able to provide enough security to allow the public at a chance to get real close to the orbiter. NASA spokesman George Dill says the shuttle cannot fly in the rain because of possible damage to the spacecraft's tile exterior. He says the Atlantis will remain in El Paso as long as necessary, but expects an all clear by tomorrow morning. This is only the 3rd time that a space shuttle has landed in El Paso.
Washington will be closely watching events in Panama this week following several days of violence in which opposition leaders were beaten. Panama's U.S. Ambassador Juan Sosa, who does not represent General Manuel Noriega, but the opposition government, was asked what he thinks will happen in his country this week.
The international community has rallied tremendously in our support after seeing the Hitler tactics used by Noriega in beating opposition candidates, and I think the will of the people will prevail in the end.
Meanwhile, Panama's ambassador to the Organization of American States, Carlos Russell, who does represent the Noriega government, lashed out at America's present policy towards his country.
It's not General Noriega that overturned the election. That was done by the tribunal. And the other thing that you have to, if you say on one hand that Noriega controls everything, then he would not have needed troops to take the election from the thing as you suggested.
In Beaumont, U.S. troops began loading the cargo ship Bellatrix for transport to Panama this week. More than 110 armored personnel carriers belonging to the Army's 5th Infantry Division posted at Fort Polk, Louisiana, were loaded onto the ship. The ship is expected to sail tomorrow morning with the equipment. At the same time, soldiers belonging to the unit will be flown to Panama from England Air Force Base.
Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev is now in Beijing to meet with China's Deng Xiaoping. It will be the first summit between the two countries in 30 years when Nikita Khrushchev met with Mao Zedong.
We won this new home in the 1988 Pepsi Dreamstakes.
You could win this new home in the 1989 Pepsi Dreamstakes.
The Pepsi Dreamstakes 4 is here. Your chance to win over $200,000 in great prizes.
this $55,000 home by Mountain Vista Builders in El Paso. A chance to win a $150,000 home anywhere in the U.S. Thousands of dollars worth of weekly prizes. To enter, just find a 7 under the tab on cans of any Pepsi product. Get an entry form where you buy Pepsi. Flatten the tab and attach it to the entry form. Fold it and bring or send it to KVIA TV. Every Wednesday at 6 on News 7, we'll have a drawing for a weekly prize. You can win a second prize. Each week, we'll run an ad in the El Paso Times with a clock set at a certain time. If you know the Pepsi time from the El Paso Times, you win a second prize. Entries received by Monday are eligible for Wednesday's drawing. The Pepsi Dreamstakes 4, bigger and better than ever.
We're great together on KVIA TV Channel 7 in El Paso, Texas.
Want to get more fun out of your television?
Yeah, got an idea.
Well, Nightcourt gives you more. More slapstick, more silliness, more, well, you know, Nightcourt. Is this much fun really legal?
Certainly!
Weeknights at 5 p.m. on KVIA 7 Together. Leon, a runaway, returns to Harry on Nightcourt tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock on KVIA 7 Together.